And here we are.
Welcome.
Yay. All right, thanks for joining us. This is the Genesee County Compassion Club show, and we're glad to be here in Flint Talk Radio Studios.
On Ustream.
Ustream.
.tv. So if you're watching
Ustream Live.
and other people around you, they probably might not know how to get to us. So if you're watching us, tell your friends. Ustream.tv or our Facebook pages.
Yep.
Yes.
Genesee Compassion on Facebook. You can check it out.
Well, you got my Facebook page and your Facebook page too.
Don't go to my Facebook page.
They'll get posted.
No. I got nothing. All right.
Stick to the
Stick to the Compassion.
Yeah. All right, Compassion Club.
All right. Well, Genesee Compassion on Facebook. All right. Anyways, John, thanks for being in the studio back there. The man behind the cam. You the man. Can you give a shout out? Hello.
Thanks, Aaron.
I don't have headphones.
We're streaming.
I have no idea what you're saying.
We're streaming, so.
What happened to the headphones?
They took them
I realize
off.
now we're missing something.
Yeah,
They're called headphones.
Yeah, hold on, I'll give them to you.
I got no idea what I'm saying. I can't even hear myself.
Can
you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you just fine. All right, oh good. No, never mind. No, I was joking.
There's the guy.
No.
We just one on there.
I can read lips. It's cool.
I'm sorry, we had another team.
All right, little inside joke, folks. I hope you can understand. Anyways, thanks for joining us. We do have some cool announcements to share with you about what's going on at the Genesee County Compassion Club. We're going to let you know what's up with medical marijuana here in Michigan. We did have a lot of changes happen this last week. We need to talk about those. We have Eric back in the studio with us.
What's going on,
guys? Councilman Eric, have you been sworn in yet? Have you taken the oath?
I was sworn in
to the Illuminati's chambers. And
absolutely,
excellent
man.
day.
I am the government now.
Do you have a insignia on your body somewhere now?
No, I've got a nice little brass nameplate though.
Ooh,
nice.
Ooh, did you have to carry it like straight out of the coals?
I didn't even have to pay for it.
Wow. See, that's how good it is.
Hey,
and I have
now I know where the pipes went in my rental house.
And I have health insurance now.
Seriously, you get health insurance?
I
did not know that. That is no joking around.
I get the same kind of health insurance that the President of the United States gets.
Seriously?
Wow.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just
that's worth more than that's worth more than the pay. Right?
It is. Certainly it is.
Wow. You didn't tell me that, dude. I want to take your office.
It's funny. I didn't even know it until
they don't tell you that.
No, they don't.
They don't. Because everybody would be running for office.
Yeah, I didn't even.
You gotta let people know.
No, it's good health insurance.
Do you know how many good people out there would do that if they knew they got health insurance?
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah.
We might actually get somebody else.
It doesn't. It's like.
Is it for life?
No, well, yeah, you get a policy, and basically, if I don't continue on being a servant of the people,
yeah,
then I can either just take that policy with me.
You almost said servant of the government, didn't you?
I almost
don't do that.
I almost did.
Okay.
Yes, I know.
They see they're already getting brainwashed.
Oh, you begin.
Now, do you get special Kool-Aid when you go to the meetings?
No,
no.
I avoid the Kool-Aid.
Good.
I avoid the Kool-Aid.
I love Kool-Aid. That's what happens.
It is.
Drink the Kool-Aid at the party.
Yeah.
Go down.
That's all good stuff.
Anyways, yeah. So that's cool. You did get sworn in.
I did. I was sworn in on the 20th of November.
Oh wow! Okay, excellent. Damn, that is cool. Congratulations.
Thank you guys. And we've had like 3 board meetings since then.
Yeah, you guys getting some stuff done.
Oh yeah, it was, and the big turnout from the community, probably the biggest in history.
It's cool. It's got to be nice to see them involved.
Cool. Very cool. A lot of people were just had a lot of pressing issues are on the tip of their tongue, such as gun control and things like that, and just what the future of our the political system's direction is going to be, and people want to stay a little more in tune to that. I think that's
cool.
Good. I think it's very good. It's very
of course, if there's a revolt, now you will be the first to go.
Actually, I just I'll just throw it over the next guy. Take him first. I'm one of you. No, but I think it's good. It's exciting. Tomorrow I go for a training in Frankenmuth for new public officials.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
So I get some training, and that's all kind of just a paid for kind of thing. And so I'm looking forward to that. It's
cool.
very exciting, Gonna get other than that, I think it's really just been a great experience overall for me, and I'm very, very enthusiastic about being involved in the community. One of the things I'm gonna bring to Thetford Township is a disc golf course.
No.
Really? You already getting that rolling?
Last night
Dude.
or Monday night.
There's more benefits.
Monday
More
night.
benefits.
Monday night we had a
Why didn't you be our councilman?
you know what? Hey man, I gotta do. I'm not gonna do my things. I live in Thetford Township.
So how'd you pull that off?
Last Monday night, this Monday night's board meeting. Well, first I went to Buell Lake Park with a friend of mine, and we canvassed the whole park and see if this was logically fit.
Sure, yeah.
And we think it can.
Okay, so you got
it may not be as big and as great and as grand
Whatever.
as but we'll get it to fit.
Yeah.
And so we did that. We did that canvassing first, just to check it out. Then Monday night, since I'm an official board member, I made a motion that the board vote on whether or not to investigate further having means of having a disc golf course at Buell Lake Park.
Oh, I see.
And by that means we send off a letter of response to the Genesee County Parks, requesting their permission, and blessing with the whole process.
Right, to look into
and
it.
then once we have the plan in front of us, and what I didn't know this was actually 2 years ago, the Regional Planning Commission had actually put up a committee to collect funds for actually putting a disc golf course in the area regionally.
Oh, wow.
So there are actually
Sweet.
$1,550 worth of
No kidding.
resources available to me at this moment.
Wow.
So
that's fantastic.
very cool. But it's like this is like almost a turnkey operation. And
See,
I'm gonna have
look at all that. You get somebody in office that has some common sense, knows what people want, is in tune with his peers.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And boom, they're getting something cool done
Yes.
that was already being worked on. It's not like you had to go raise money. It's
Well,
already done.
and I think it just got headed off and stopped before.
You have delivered kung fu
only because
to the township of Thetford.
we
need more people in office.
Yeah.
This is very,
You have a disc golf course.
You do
man.
like
Thetford
ice cream
Township.
sandwiches on Fridays or anything like that too? Maybe.
No, but there are donuts in the morning. And coffee, but I'm not a coffee drinker.
More bonuses.
Donuts and disc golf.
More bonuses.
You're in office too, right?
No, I do not have an office. Trustees do not get an office. Only supervisors, clerks, and treasurers.
Yeah. And you're not there
And I'm not
every
there
day, all day,
no,
right?
And I'm
No.
not. I'm only required by policy or law to be there 2 hours a month for 12 months.
Yeah.
A year.
So you're like a councilman they can't get rid of.
Exactly.
No, he's here. Why this guy's here every day, all day? He's like a bad rash.
But it's all good.
That's cool.
A lot of things, and it's a great formulated board. Thetford Township has kind of had a history of having squabbling board members.
Yeah.
That is no more, and we are very, very
He
fluent.
is the peacemaker.
We are very fluent. We're very I want them to know that I'm easy to work with and that I'm workable. But yet I'm not gonna tolerate our government rolling over on us in any way either. And anytime there's any kind of things that don't look right to me, or if I think wasteful spending is a part of that's part of my fiscal responsibilities to make sure that we're not spending ourselves out of existence. So the money is the main thing with the township's money, and we are going to spend it wisely, and I can assure you that anyway of my vote. So
well, cool.
Yep.
Well, Thetford
There you
Township
go.
looks like it's getting to be a better place to live at.
Hell yeah.
Oh, and by the way, there are also
Not that it wasn't all that bad. You know.
some ordinances too. I was going to say too. There's nothing was all that bad. Hopefully we can make some improvements. But no, there was also.
You guys got fluoride in your water? You can use
No, not yet. Not yet.
Okay. Sorry.
It's coming soon though.
Anyways.
So near. That
We
and
don't have to brush our teeth.
I don't know if you guys saw the headline of the Flint Journal, but Consumers Energy is putting up a power plant in Thetford Township of Genesee County.
They need it now.
One of the
A lot of
largest.
indoor growers in the area.
One of the
Christmas
largest.
lights.
Largest in the area, and it'll be installed by it'll start production I think on 2015.
Wow, look at that. He's
And-
already bringing jobs to the area, folks.
And that includes
Look at that.
it's a $700 million project with 600 jobs.
And you
It's
didn't
huge.
do that. Eric did.
No, that's consumer energy. But take credit for it.
That's see, I'm helping you with your politics.
It's all
'cause
good.
you got to learn how to take credit for things that aren't yours.
And I got to learn
It's
how
part
to
of policy.
handle the hecklers too.
Policy for politics.
Exactly. Right? No, but
I'm on jobs here.
but we had to take right. Of course, that's the rhetoric that's
You didn't do that. America did.
But there's also talk of ordinances coming up too. And
What kind of ordinances?
Ordinances involving mostly noise ordinances. How this come about is that the chief of police is bringing this to our attention because when he cites someone under an ordinance law, and it goes to court, and the judge defers the fine, and when the person pays the fine, the monies transfer back to Thetford Township. When a law enforcement officer cites someone under state law, the monies go back to the state.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't see any of that money come back to our own local community.
Right.
So Thetford Township or any other township or municipality pays out the money to have the action or the enforcement of the codes done,
Mm-hmm.
but then they don't receive any money back.
Right. So they're better off enforcing local code than state code.
Precisely. And I like the idea of having local law enforcement because I think they're more accustomed and more used to the surrounding people. They have a good feel for the people, so they know, the difference between, people that are good people that just simply, maybe their dog's barking, maybe it's
Let me
creating
ask you a
noise
question.
ordinance for their neighbor.
If let's say in Thetford Township, you guys passed a decrim measure, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Like what Flint just did.
Mm-hmm.
So now, if Flint was to charge someone
Mm-hmm.
with possession now, it'd be a civil infraction
Mm-hmm.
or something like that, right?
Okay, right.
Because of their ordinance that they passed. The money they would collect would then return back to the city of Flint. So I guess what I'm saying is that it would seem to me that law enforcement in the city of Flint would be more inclined to want to do that
Right.
versus enforce a misdemeanor, which would be a state fine. Am
Right.
I right?
Right.
Wow.
Exactly.
So these
it
ordinances here are a revenue earner
Yes.
for local law enforcement
Yes.
in townships?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yes.
That's pretty freaking awesome.
Yes, and I didn't quite fully understand
Pretty
that
freaking-
either until I understood, when the chief
Wow.
explained it to us a little bit better, and then
See,
we have
the
an
chiefs-
attorney that, and we have. Our chief is really good. He's really laid back. He fully understands that medical marijuana is a statewide ballot initiative. It's a constitutional amendment. It's hands off, and that he's got a good approach to that. So it's very good. I feel very, very confident in our chief. But yeah, the monies. It's all about the monies, and the monies stay within our township. So that's
Wow.
that or any local municipality, whether it's a city or township or whatever.
Well, it's something for people who like our show to consider is that, for marijuana activism and so forth, that these decrim measures where you're passing a local ordinance are actually favorable for the city's revenue or their
Yes.
bottom line, giving the police an option to, instead of charging a state crime, charge a local crime. And then
Exactly.
they know that the money's going to come back to them. And then also, obviously, the person, the recipient, the criminal, whatever,
Right.
they receive the benefit of a lesser sentence, if you will.
Absolutely.
That's pretty cool.
And I think
Yeah.
that's,
I mean, if you're going to have be a crime,
right,
you
and
know.
I think it's also a better way for democracy to work in an area where the majority of the people in an area feel that shouldn't be a crime or something should be a reduced penalty kind of crime, then they should have the freedom to do that, and without the state, or anyone else, trampling on their doorstep.
Oh, cool.
So I think that these are good things, and I think that it's looking up. This ordinance, when we're going to go back to the square one, have our attorney crunch it all down, go line by line, take all of the ordinances that we've had in the books for years in Thetford Township, clean them up and make sure they hold constitutional muster, and the fact that many of the ordinances are outdated, and the fact that there are case laws that have changed and so forth that have trumped the existing laws prior, especially we've even got one in Thetford Township where if you leave standing water in your ditch, you could be charged up to 90 days in jail and a $500 fine.
Wow.
But that just seems ridiculous. I mean, standing water in a ditch? That's what ditches are for.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's to hold water.
How dare you?
How dare you? You know what I mean? So,
You collected water.
and then with the road commission not being as pristine as we'd like them to be, that they end up trying to make water flow uphill sometimes.
Did you put this water here?
Yeah, it's like, who are you going to blame for that? And so.
Wow. Okay.
A lot of these things we need to revive. But
For sure.
that's it for the news of Thetford Township, and
Cool.
just happy to be a part of the the
Well,
whole
it's
process.
interesting for us, even us who don't live in Thetford Township. It's interesting to know how it works and how influential. I mean, you've already been able to be, which is so cool.
Right, and there's only been three board meetings in 1 month.
Right. And I mean, look at that, folks. There's a way that a local person, local authority has a way to really make an improvement or an impact. And when we're not engaged.
Right.
How we just totally missed the ball.
Right.
And how simple it is if you are engaged.
Right, and it is.
They're meeting all the time, so if nothing gets done, then...
What are they talking about?
Right, and the township supervisor...
the school buses need to be clean.
Back to this next time.
I remember I went to a town meeting not too long ago, and I remember the main topic of discussion was who was going to hang the Christmas lights. And what a sad thing that, there wasn't hardly anyone around in town that would be willing to hang the Christmas lights. They couldn't afford to pay someone to do it. And, here's the little town without having any Christmas decorations. But those little things actually do matter because somewhere someone had to pay tax, and now they got to appropriate funds, and, all that stuff doesn't just magically happen. Right. There's no little work fairies that do it,
Sure.
What?
And there are always busy bodies behind the scenes you don't see that are doing that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? And they deserve to be rewarded and paid.
You betcha. All right, we have some stuff that we've been doing down at the club. I know we had class today. We had our Business of Caregiving class that went on today. Mm-hmm. Thank you to everyone that showed up. Appreciate it.
A lot of people in there.
It was nice. Yes. But I know we've got some more classes coming up, I think.
We're going to have those next week for them.
Okay.
We're waiting until the holidays get
the best thing to do, if stay in tune, if you want to take some classes, go to the website, www.genesee3c.com, and you can look it up there and get all the info that you need. Exactly. But do you have any events or anything coming up?
We're wrapping up our soup kitchen and our Eastern Michigan Food Bank.
Yes,
we're wrapping that up here shortly.
Tomorrow.
Okay. Yes, tomorrow.
All right.
I know we're getting close on the money.
Tomorrow's the last day to drop off a can of food or $1 at the club so that we can get the money or food to the food bank.
Yep, correct. And the soup kitchen.
Make it happen, people.
So, please.
So right now, if you're listening,
chip in if you can.
We have those beautiful boxes sitting on the club, at the snack bar. I think there's one at the security desk. They look like little presents. Those right there, they love dollar bills. They love even $5 bills. Hell, even 10s and 20s. The box isn't racist against bills.
They love it all. Change. They'll take change.
Yes.
I don't care.
They love change. They love it all. But those boxes need a little loving right now. Because those boxes are going to be taken away here shortly. So if you haven't yet been able to make your holiday contribution, you feel like this is a good way to do it, hit those boxes up. I'm a big supporter of the soup kitchen and the Eastern Market Food Bank just because I myself go work, the food, soup kitchen as much as possible, and I also try to do as much as we can with the food bank every time it comes around.
You are a giver.
Well, it's just cool because you really get to see how it affects these people, and in my mind, it's made a big difference in how I look at the program. Before I just give a can or give a few dollars, cool, yeah, you feel happy for doing it. Then when you see that stuff in action, you really feel cool about it. So if you're watching right now and if you're listening, donate some money, help out. It's Christmas time. And if you celebrate Hanukkah, I know it just got over, but we even got some money for Hanukkah presents then.
Yeah.
And we got a band coming up.
Well, that's why I wanted to bring this up, is because this is a benefit for the food bank.
Yes.
On the 28th of December, so it's a week from... Yeah, do your thing.
Where's the camera at, John?
You got it.
Okay.
Is that the right camera?
That's good.
That's the right camera.
There you go. That's it. There you go.
Just
back up a little bit so you can see the bottom there. Back up. There you go. Keep going. We got the banner running across the bottom of the screen there, Chad. So, anyways, folks, that's Moon Boots. Awesome 80s cover band. We have Drat, which is a badass punk band. We have Glass Lung, which are the Monsters of Mayhem.
Monsters of
Mayhem. We got Ryan.
They're awesome. Yes, that's right. Brian on lead with a dead baby.
Yes.
And also Ryan
Gregory.
Yes, will be there as well. All performing artists at Churchill's on Friday, December 28th. That's a week from this Friday. And this is a benefit for the food bank. So if you could come on out and have a good time, enjoy the music, enjoy the friendship, and make a little donation, we'll have a good time, and that'll wrap up.
Last year was awesome, so this
year
awesome. I assume it's going to be huge.
And the cool thing is that each one of these bands is a little different, so there's something for everyone, and Churchill's is a great place to hang out. It's an awesome time. If you haven't been downtown, at night. It's quite nice.
Yep.
down there in Flint.
80s.
And you got band member right here, and you guys all know what I look like from watching this. I will be out there probably rocking an 80s tracksuit, collecting money for donations and having raffle tickets go around.
Sweet.
We had a fun time last year raising the money and doing the raising the tickets part. That I want to do it again this year. So we had a Blueberry Bob. He brought me in some 80s tracksuits.
They're pretty cool.
Yes. I wore one home, and my girl was just like, what the hell was I wearing? And I was like, what do you mean? Yeah. And she was like, you didn't really just come home in that, did you? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, you just drove from the club, right? And I was like, yeah. She's like, okay. But she thought she was worried that work out in public.
That's awesome.
Dude, it looked like straight up like I was a grown-up kid from when I was like 8. Because I used to have those same suits when I was 8
Don't
years
wear
old.
one. Sweet.
We got them at the club.
Awesome. All right, come out to the event week from Friday if you can. It is going to be a awesome
It'll be
time.
a lot of fun. Churchill's is like the rocking spot in Flint. Like,
Yep. Come on down, get it with your good foot.
Yes.
See some dancers.
Yeah,
down
good
there.
beer.
See that floor packed.
Good hardwood floor too. The hardwood floor is always fun for that kind of stuff. It's got the crickety crackities. They do. It's got different feel.
Forget
to
the
it.
fact that Churchill's has great food and drinks and
It's
it's got an awesome floor, man. The floor, you wouldn't. It actually cracks.
Have you been to Temple Club? Okay, well, let's go about Temple Club. The fact that you could bounce on the floor.
Never been there.
Yeah.
Like Temple Club in Lansing.
I was afraid it was going to break. We didn't.
See, but it was
bounce on
fun though, wasn't it?
It was scary.
Scary, man.
We do have some news to talk about. I think we got a couple other things we have to cover too.
Anything else happening?
Anything else? Anything else going
Bam,
on?
what's it say on that? Right there.
What's it say on that website, yo?
We already got it all.
Yo? Oh, sorry.
Pretty
That
much.
was it?
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. We just need you to give it up.
I mean, we
for
do got
food
some
bank.
new stuff at the club though. We do have some new.
John is
rosin.
chasing UFOs behind
We
the
had some
screen.
green ones and some purple ones brought in. Yes, I know we do have a bunch of new stuff that's coming in for the patients, like a bunch of these new hats.
Oh yeah.
We got all sorts
Made
of
out of hemp.
Hemp gear.
What?
hats.
Made out of
Yep,
hemp.
yep.
Really?
Yeah.
There's all sorts of different ones. I got
Nice.
the standard beanie, but they have the large hair beanie if you got dreads or long hair. They
And
also
Toby's
have,
girl, which is not the girl on that flyer, makes those groovy hats.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
I need
she's
her
good
to
at
bust
making
some more out. Like
That's
that
pretty
right
groovy.
there. There's a bad hat.
I've had this for a long time. It's my favorite hat.
That's super groovy.
That is
It's got to be pretty cool for me to wear it, though. But
That is cool.
thank you.
That's because you're such a cool guy.
It goes. I should tell you.
All right, we do have some news for you. Believe it or not, there
Yeah.
was some things that went down last week.
I messed up.
What?
Last Wednesday I messed up.
How?
I was like, woo, we're clear from the Bills. Almost.
Oh, yeah.
Let's give a high five.
That was my
Yeah.
fault. I told Chad that.
But it's alright though. You
No,
know.
it was Vacuum
believed
Jeremy's
me.
fault.
Yeah, it's Vacuum Jeremy's.
He believed me.
Detroit Eastside Ghetto Pimp Vacuum Jeremy's
It was
fault.
Vacuum Jeremy's fault.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. That's
He
right. I
didn't
saw
give us the
Vacuum
right
Jeremy. I
information.
did see him.
Did
I
you?
watched the show.
No, Vacuum Jeremy.
I liked it.
pimping.
But I'm really more of a filter queen, I'm telling you.
It's always later.
All right. Last week, yes, unfortunately, the bills did get passed, contrary to what you heard on the show here.
What time?
Yeah, I told Chad the next day, I was like, it's okay, man. We're just like Fox News. Every now and then, we got to give wrong news.
What time they get
You know?
past?
Right.
Just because it's really blows
They
my
passed
mind.
at 4 a.m. on Thursday
Wait, who gets
night,
up?
Friday morning.
Who gets up
Whatever.
at that time? to do
Seriously.
that?
Yeah, who's
4
the
a.m.
legislature?
People with a big heart.
And
on
well, at what
business.
point do you as a human being go, you know what, guys? I've been here in office for 4 years, and I was working pretty hard all those 4 years. I work until midnight tonight.
Right.
F you. Put me down as absent or whatever. It's just, you're absolutely right. The fact that we have bill makers in Lansing, legislators, senators, representatives, these are astute business people making decisions at 4 a.m. in the morning. Folks,
probably
they
even heard that.
they didn't get up in the morning and go there. They were
probably
there
still
all
there.
night long making decisions. And you tell me when you ever made a cognitive
Good decision.
at 4 a.m.
Oh, jeez.
Okay? Even if you were sober, which you probably weren't, and some of them might not have been either. When did you ever make a good decision in that type of physical
Did they get the
mind
phone?
frame?
Did they
This
get
is
the phone call?
ridiculous.
Did they get the phone call and be like, hey, listen, I can't sleep. Will you meet me at the Capitol at like 4 a.m.? I can, let's
No,
get these
they had been there all day
That wasn't
long,
how it went.
all through the evening, all night, and into 4 a.m. and they're making decisions. Anyways, folks, it did get passed, these bills that we've been talking about for the last 3 months on here, maybe longer. And
Yeah.
just to give you a quick summary of the changes that are to come. Now, the governor isn't signed on these yet, but that could probably be done at any point.
No whammy, no whammy, no whammy.
He did veto the concealed weapons thing, so he does veto bills. We can only hope he'd veto these ones, but I don't think he will. Some of the bills they passed, because they passed the supermajority, they don't need the governor's signature. They can be put in law immediately anyways. So, but most likely he would sign on them anyways. So here's the changes. They're not, they're not life-changing changes. Okay?
Right.
But
Some good, some bad.
some good, some bad.
Here
Here we go.
I got us a cookie while we read about how we got raped.
Thank you.
Oh, what's up?
Raping probably goes better while you're eating a cookie. So if you guys are at home listening to this,
Have a cookie.
get yourself a cookie before you get your ear raping real quick.
Okay.
All right, so that is a good cookie.
Let us have it.
See?
Let us have
I'm ready. And
Things are a little
let me
better.
know what happened to
I
us.
got to admit.
Looking Harry Potter.
All right, bring it.
Okay, so first thing, you got to get a picture on your card.
No, you don't.
Can I get my own, like a modeling picture?
I thought they just changed that. I thought they changed. I thought they said they don't have to have the picture ID.
I'm just reading you what the thing here says.
All right.
That's what I was
That's
told.
the Michigan website.
I wonder if I can get my left side.
On the
from better side.
legislature website.
All right.
Here we go. As passed by the House concurred bill. Let me go to the bill. Maybe you're right. You can't trust these guys,
Well, I thought.
Okay,
that
so-
was taken out of the revised one.
All right, proof of residency. Da-da-da-da-da. Must provide driver's license or Michigan registration. Okay, maybe they did take the picture out.
Wait, so you have to-
think maybe so.
of the 2 year. They
Yeah.
of the
Okay,
minute,
so
so-
no photo. Sorry, bad. But all right, 2 years. That is in the bill.
right.
Okay, I'm reading from the House concurred bill from the Michigan Legislature website. This is Bill 4834.
That's Michigan.gov/what?
Michigan, it is legislature.michigan.
That's
Or
right.
.mi.gov. Okay, so they changed to the department. First change here is that the department now has 15 business days to review your application, whereas previously it was just 15 days. So they got themselves a couple extra days there.
Okay.
But the department's getting caught up, so I
So
can
wait,
at
what
least
about
say
the
that.
residency part?
You got to be able to provide proof of residency.
Like, what if you own houses in multiple states?
Well, that's not the problem, man. What the problem is that originally the law was passed so that you didn't have to provide proof of residency, and the reason they did that is because if there's a homeless person that needed cannabis for whatever reason, they shouldn't have to have a residency to get it. And the state has changed that in the law. You now have to provide proof of residency. So that's nothing more than you would have to provide to get a state ID or driver's license, which is what you also need to apply for the program. So not a big change there. Next thing is 2 years. So instead of the cards being good for 1 year, they're going to be good for 2. So that's
What's the
your
price on
biggest
that? That's what
win
everybody's asking me.
out of all of the things in the bill. That's your best one. That doesn't get any better than that.
Right.
The price is the
Well,
same.
but unless
That's what everybody's
what about
asking me.
now?
Yeah, I don't know about the price.
was
Department
gonna
hasn't
say-
said anything, and I imagine that once the bill is
Sorry.
finalized, they'll have a certain amount of time to put this into place, and it'll be on a go-forward basis. So don't
Well-
expect it to be retroactive.
You know those
Okay.
yeah, 2 years in the program.
Let's see. Next change. Okay, it gives the department ability to contract out their work. So they were pretty much already doing, but now they have the legal ability to do it. Let's see here. They also have in the bill that they will form the panel to make recommendations to add conditions. Well, that panel has already been formed. They had their first meeting on Friday this last week. I was there, and I'll talk about that later. But okay, so that's 4834. That has been approved, and that's what it does. Okay,
That's that? Somebody's
That's-
talking
well,
about
there's
lock
more.
boxes.
There's
oh,
more.
okay. I was going to say.
but this is part of a package. It's 4-bill package. That's 4834. Okay, the next one is 4851, And I'll go straight to the concurred bill from the House that was passed. Okay, this is the bona fide patient relationship. Got to have that now. Basically, what that means, folks, I got to get something to drink your water. All right, what that means is that you got to have a face-to-face with the doctor. Pretty much is what that means. So no more faxing the application crap. Okay? All right, next part about this bill. And this is from the bill 4851. Okay? Next part is 4851. Okay, locking facility has to be comparable, stationary, and fully enclosed area, equipped with secured locks or other functioning security devices. Okay? Next part is about plants being grown outdoors, and they are more specific on how they can be grown outdoors. It has to be in an enclosed, locked facility, not visible to unaided eyes from an adjacent property when viewed by an individual at ground level or from a permanent structure, and are grown within a stationary structure that is enclosed on all sides, except for the base, by chain link fencing, wooden slats, or a similar material that prevents access by general public, that is anchored, attached to the ground, and it would be located on land that is owned, leased, or rented by the patient or by a person designated as a caregiver.
Okay.
And then it goes on to talk about if it's in a vehicle, that the person, this is plants, not medicine, plants. If the vehicle is being used temporarily to transport living marijuana plants from one location to another, individual inside the vehicle, is not inside the vehicle unless he or she is either the patient or the caregiver. So if you're moving plants, what the law is saying is that you cannot have anybody else in the car with you that isn't a patient or a caregiver.
Interesting.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, next change.
Clear.
Next change. Okay, this is in regards to caregivers. Caregiver means a person 21 years old that has agreed to assist patients' medical use of marijuana, and who has, here's the change, not been convicted of any felony within the past 10 years, and has never been convicted of a felony involving illegal drugs, and has never been convicted of a felony involving illegal drugs, or a felony that is an assaultive crime as defined in Section 9A of Chapter X of the Code of Criminal Procedure. So, if you have a felony involving a assaultive crime as defined in Section 9A of Chapter X of the Code of Criminal Procedure, then you can no longer be a caregiver. If you've had a felony in the past 10 years, you can't be a caregiver unless you get the felony expunged. And most likely, you're not going to get a felony expunged within a 10-year period. But you could try. Right. Not to say that you couldn't try. And if you've had a drug felony, which that was the same as before. So that hasn't changed.
Right.
So, all right. So that's that. That is a blow for some people, I can tell you. If you have a felony and you think that it could be expunged, you need to contact an attorney and start working on it. It's as simple as that. And you might need to do that. It's something you should do. You could get your voting rights restored among, retaining your ability to be a caregiver.
Question.
Yeah.
So if,
among other rights,
if at this moment you are, let's say, you have a felony as what's described in the new language, but you are currently in the program because prior to it wasn't the type of...
Yeah, so you're a caregiver now, but you've now...
Right, so my question is, now that this new law is out, if you're already in the program and you already possess a license, does that mean that you are immediately and effectively kicked off the program and you no longer legally can possess the license?
Well, it does not say anything in regards to that. So we don't know. I would think legally speaking, once this is put into law, that people who are in that position would be violating the law at that point.
At that point.
Right.
There's nothing in here that says that they would continue
I mean,
to run out their term
right. I mean, like
or anything like that.
Right.
It just simply says this is what it is.
right. And
So, unfortunately, for people who are in that position, once this is signed into law,
Mhm.
they would probably need to contact the department and see if the department is going to let them, finish out their remaining contract for however
Right.
many months they have. We know nobody's is longer than 12.
I just extended the program to 2 years.
Well, and it's the same thing. That is,
2 years.
and I guess I would feel like, since they're not doing that, you know what I mean? Since everybody who's already in the program isn't going to automatically get 12 more months now. You're going to get 2 years when you get renewed or when you become a patient for the first time.
Right.
So people who are currently in the program aren't getting anything extra until they renew. I would hope they'd extend the same courtesy to caregivers that are already caregivers and may have fallen into this category now with a felony,
Right.
and let them finish out their term. They have a contract with a patient they've signed, 12-month
Right.
contract. It is only 12 months. I don't see why we've allowed this change. I think this change is foolish. I don't think it's necessary. But for people that are caught in that, I would expect at the very least that they certainly would not renew your caregiver status. So say your patient, renewal comes up, you fall in this boat. You could try to fill out a caregiver form and see if it let it slip past, but I would probably wager that that's not going to happen.
Right. So now the state will have extra work on their hands to be able to.
They already did that.
Right. Okay,
They already knew that because they did a background check on everybody anyways.
Okay. All right.
And so the state already knows whether or not you would fall into this.
I see.
They might not have the ability to go back and look, but they certainly would have an ability to do it on a go-forward basis.
When you renew it.
Which is probably what they would end up doing, hopefully. Hopefully they don't have time to go back and look through,
right.
everybody. They just let them run out
Right.
and then not renew. Hopefully. That'd be the best case scenario. But that's not what the law says. The law says this is what it is. So by right, when it's signed into law, that's what it is.
Yeah.
There's no waiting period. There's no retroactive period. So,
Right.
it sucks. All right. So the next thing is
They got a spelling error here.
Yeah, I see that. Plats.
It says Platts.
Plats. It's just screaming at
there's
me.
an interesting thing they've done here in the law, and it says that a section. This is at the end of the law here. That protections for the medical use of marijuana. A qualifying patient who has been issued and possesses a registry identification card shall not be subject to arrest, persecution, or penalty in any manner, or denied any right or privilege, including but not limited to civil penalty or disciplinary action by a business, occupation, or professional. So basically what it's saying here is the law, as we have it passed, says qualifying patient who has been issued a card shall not be subject to arrest. Okay, well that's been largely ignored for the most part.
Yeah.
But at any rate, the legislators felt that they could clarify that by putting in at the end of that paragraph here, the privilege from arrest under this, I'm reading verbatim here, the privilege from arrest under this subsection applies only if the qualifying patient presents both his or her registry identification card and a valid driver's license or government issued ID that bears a photographic image of the qualifying patient. So they're saying that the privilege of not being arrested for medical marijuana or for marijuana only applies if the person has their card and their driver's license on them.
Right.
Whoa.
Very interesting. Now, they can't change the protection of the law So they would still go to court and then fall under affirmative defense, Section E and Section 4 and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And then they could go to Section 8 if they needed to. But in this Section 4, which is what they're adding in here, is that you can't get Section 4 protection unless you have a card and, of course, another valid ID.
Right.
So the damning part about this is what they're trying to do is for cases where people have, let's say they've been busted, okay, and they go to court and they say, well, you guys had 46 plants and only 2 cards. And they're saying, well, no, we didn't. We had 2 cards and we had 2 people that were caregiving for. Well, we didn't have their card. Well, we have paperwork. And then this battle begins. And in some cases, it's been manipulated where those paperworks were filled out after the arrest. So by the officer's estimation, they feel that they're manipulating the system to cover their plant count. When maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I think that sometimes the paperwork follows the action.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, as long as it's being used for the right intention. But the police don't feel that way, and they've used that in their prosecutions. And so what they're doing is they're adding this little section on here now to prevent that from being able to ever happen again. So that way, you get busted with 48 plants, you only had 3 cards at the time, and you're not going to get Section 4 defense anymore because your 4th one was just paperwork.
Right.
And I can't really tell you if, as a cop, if you went and did that before or after I busted you. So that's why I said you were over 12. You're telling me you're not, and we're going to go argue about it.
Mm-hmm.
I won't have to argue anymore because you didn't have a card. That don't count.
Right.
And, you can see how this is used, and now he'd be forced to go to court and defend himself under Section 8. Okay, well, I wasn't growing for 4. I was growing for 3, and I was trying to maintain an uninterrupted supply.
Right.
Would be his next defense. And then we would try to say as a cop, well, no, you were manipulating the system, using it for profit. That was an excessive amount, blah, 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 blah. And then we continue to fight and rage and go through the BS. But,
Sure.
I guess that's, to me, it would seem that law enforcement, for the most part, and I think for the most part they do, but when they have a situation that is clearly not for medicinal purposes, it's very clearly not.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually processed in a different manner. Usually the quantity is much different than what a medicinal gardener has.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say quantity, I mean quantity, folks. We're talking about comparing someone who has bales, literally pounds upon pounds of material that's not growing, it's not wet, it's not hanging. I'm talking it's been processed. It's in a bale.
Right.
And then there's people who might have, 5 or 6 Ziploc bags, and, they're only allowed 2.5,
over.
so now they're over.
Sure.
Well, whether or not they were really trying to maintain an uninterrupted supply is indisputable.
Doesn't
Of course
look
they
like a
were.
drug enterprise.
You can see that their plants are this tall, and it's going to be months before they're ready again.
Right.
And that this person goes through a half of one of those bags in about a day if they want to.
Right.
So when do we start to debate and say, okay, this really is up to the patient.
Right.
It's up to the patient to make that judgment call, how much they need, and how much they, how good at growing they are, and how much their strains yield, and how much they needed to actually produce in order to meet their need. And that's not going to be 12 for everybody.
Right.
It's going to be different numbers, but what we have to look at is the intent, and that's what we need to judge people by.
Right.
And this type of, addition to the law isn't going to help accomplish that because it's taking it from the wrong angle. We're still trying to nitpick, and what we need to look at is what's really going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what the Michigan voter wants. They want to know, is this guy trying to manipulate the system, or is he really just trying to provide for patients?
Mhm.
Right.
And if he is manipulating it, then let's go ahead and take everything he's got. If he isn't, we don't have a problem with it.
Right.
But the funny part
It's
is,
a pretty big dividing line.
Yeah.
a lot of people don't understand that. Like, if you want to manipulate the system, people don't realize that you're talking like a huge operation. You're talking like warehouse size. You're
That's
talking.
what I'm talking about. There's a very clear physical definition between a manipulator
But they make it
and a
sound
person
like,
who isn't.
Yeah, but they
And
make
our
it sound like
police
every blow or
are
blow.
well educated enough to know the difference. The problem is that the people behind the police, like the prosecutors and people who feel like they don't like marijuana in our state government, they don't care about that.
Right.
They want to just take everything that they can get, and they don't care about people who are actually using this like medicine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't think they've even taken the time to educate themselves to see what the difference is.
Yeah.
But they know. Your average, they know. And I can tell you that your police, who are not them, definitely know.
Mhm.
Because they're the guys who got to pack it up in their truck, put it in bags,
Yeah.
tag it, and bag it. You know what I mean? That's what the cop has to do. They're not the guy sitting behind the desk making judgment calls on some type of verbiage in the law and deciding your fate over it.
Right.
You know, and this type of stuff here is BS, if you ask me.
I'm trying to make everyone criminal.
So, anyways, folks, it's nice that the cards are getting out faster, but what you need to realize is that you will not have real protection under Section 4 in the law unless you have a card. So, if you're thinking about using something like Section 8 for your defense, well, then by all means, fire away. But if you want full protection in the law, where you don't have to be questioned, where they can't touch you, you need to have a card, and you need to be within your limit, period. And that means 2.5 ounces. That means 12 plants. That means 1 card. And
It means you can't even slip between renewals or nothing.
and I'm telling you, if you in any way, shape, or form weigh over 2.5 ounces, you don't get that Section 4 defense. That's what they're going to try to deny from you. So whether or not you really need that protection, you're going to have to ask yourself that. You know, for the patient that isn't producing themselves, that just is taking care of their own need, they can very comfortably do that. For the person who's trying to provide for themselves, or the caregiver that's trying to provide for their patient, that is a much, much trickier equation. And so that's something that needs to be reviewed, considered, and I don't think our law enforcement is well educated enough. Certainly our judges aren't, and definitely not our prosecutors. They aren't educated enough on what patients' needs are to understand being able to differentiate a manipulator and a caregiver.
Right.
You know, so we still got a lot of work to do, folks, in letting these people know how this stuff has worked, how it's being used, and there's still time to make a difference, you know. But all right, so 4853 is the next one. That's just simply an update to the criminal code, so we're not even going to go through that. It's all lawyer crap. And then the last one is the 4856, which is the transport bill. What you need to know now is if you're familiar with CPL practices, i.e., or just gun practices, okay? A lot of people in Michigan own firearms. If you're familiar with how to transport a firearm, you already know how you need to transport your cannabis, okay? If you're not familiar with that, then here's what you need to do. Your cannabis needs to be inaccessible, all right? So let's, in a car, obviously that's simple, put it in the trunk, all right? Real simple. In a vehicle that doesn't have a trunk, make sure it's out of reach. In a vehicle that, let's say you got a truck, single truck, whatever, there's no back seat, behind the seat, or maybe in a container inside of a bag that's closed. All of these things to basically show that there's no way you're using it while you're rolling down the road.
Right.
That's what's going to keep you safe.
Right.
Show that it wasn't accessible, that you couldn't just, reach over and fire it up. In a sense,
I kind of thought this was already like the way it went when you got pulled over anyway.
well, you'd think it would be, but
Under
now it's law.
DUI. And,
I mean, that's kind of what the way it always was, though. Was if you're like I remember specifically talking to people, and they're like, yeah, like if it's out of the reach, you know what I'm saying? They really don't have a reason to be sitting there and telling you that you're using it while driving.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, that's just it. Is people were using that to talk about being busted for DUI.
right.
That's not what we're talking about.
Right.
Now we can bust you for possession because you had it too close to you.
Right.
So you need to be careful about that. So say, for instance, you got, once again, Officer Do-Right, who wants to give you a hard time. Well, you're going to allow him to do that if you've made it accessible. Doesn't matter if you're using it or not.
Right.
So you need to be aware of that. That's the change. Whereas before, you did it to keep yourself from having to worry about getting a DUI.
Right.
Now you need to do it to worry about getting popped with
So I
possession.
feel safer now because that means all prescription drugs now you can't have like that?
No,
Or is it-
it's just for marijuana.
Oh, for real? Wait.
Of course.
Oh, see, I thought they were doing
Yeah,
this
so
like
you
to
can
help
keep your
make
Vicodin
it
on
safer.
you,
Yeah.
but you
Right.
got to put your
Don't have a
marijuana in the
pocket full of
trunk.
pre-rolls.
Right.
No.
I see.
I got my Percocets right here, and my pre-rolls in the trunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I'm just curious because I
That's
keep
what rest stops are for.
my thing like, you know?
Darvasay here, doobies in the trunk.
Yeah.
I can keep going. All right,
Yeah, it is what it
those
is.
are the bill changes.
That's funny.
Don't need to talk about them anymore.
Yeah.
Probably going to get signed by the governor. Probably going to be law pretty soon, and that's about it. So they're not drastic. They're not, the program isn't ended or anything like that. Everything else is the same. Now there was a Supreme Court case that we're all kind of waiting on. McQueen. It's the apothecary case. Nothing yet. Just teasing you. But there was another one where the Supreme Court had a case in front of them or sent to them about a dude that was in Grand Rapids growing. He had 88 plants growing. And he said that he had given some people that those plants all weren't his. And that there was a couple other caregivers that he was allowing to grow there with him. And so anyways, Kent County authorities said, no way, these are all yours. You're definitely a drug dealer. And went after the dude. So they went to the appeals court. The appeals court said, no, they agree with the prosecution. This guy's a drug dealer, blah, blah, blah. So he appealed to the state Supreme Court. And the state Supreme Court has now sent it back down to the appeals court. Said the judge who was in front of that needs to relook at it.
Nice.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. If the Supreme Court doesn't hear something, that means that it usually is a good sign that.
So, and basically Ryan is the dude's name,
right.
Ryan Bilsema.
Okay.
And he says, well, hey, I was growing for 2 people, so 24 of those are mine, and the others, I had other caregivers here that were just growing with me in the same building.
Right.
And we had all made together a locked, enclosed facility, and that's how it's working. So, should be able to do that. But the authorities in Grand Rapids are saying, no, you guys can't work together, which is just, there's no reason for that, especially when they took time to make sure it was in an enclosed locked facility. They were all licensed. They had the right to do what they were doing. And just because they were doing it together makes it illegal, that's pretty stupid.
Let's remind them.
And I think that's what the Supreme Court is trying to get at, too.
Let's remind them, too, that if you're watching and you don't know much about grow rooms, 88 plants is really not what you might think it is. Like, if you want to Google and see what a real drug operation is, Google, like, Tennessee, Canada. There's been a few drug operations, actual drug operations, not medicinal, busted, where there's close to 500 to 1,000 plants.
Well, no, a lot of times you're talking thousands.
Yeah, thousands.
Literally tens of thousands. And that's, if you think about it, go down to,
multi-million-dollar.
what's the greenhouse here off 75?
Oh, yeah.
Just start counting Bordines. Just start counting plants in one of those things, and you'll be 3, 4, 500, just like that. So when somebody has 88 plants growing, if you haven't been a gardener, like you said, it might sound like a lot.
Right.
But if you've been a gardener, you understand that 88 plants is
really not that
a
much.
pittance.
Yeah,
the room that we're sitting in that you're looking at could easily hold that many.
Yeah.
And by rights, also this room could also hold 1 plant.
Right.
But for indoor growing, the majority of the time, no, 88 plants is not very much. And for most of these cases I've seen where they do talk about numbers and so forth, they neglect to tell you that 34 of those plants were this big and inside of a dome.
Sure.
And you're like, oh, okay, and then another 24 were that tall, and then we had 12, that were this big.
Yeah.
Right.
You're like, are you kidding me? Yeah.
Right,
You're reading the report, and it looks like, they had 35 kilos and
Sure.
2 pounds of material and 124 plants, and it's like,
Right.
they bring it all into court in the evidence bag, and it's all in one, bag.
Sure. Right.
It's amazing.
Where's the rest of it at?
Right.
You got it. You're holding it. Really? Does that feel like 35 pounds? Woo! Kind of goes like that back down. Anyways, you got to watch yourself, that's for sure. And it's a good idea to label your things if you can. Try to show that you're maintaining, trying to be legal. It's a good idea to make sure you are actually having an enclosed locked facility. A lot of people do silly things like not lock the door. And it's like, they're willing to drag you through court, not give you the Section 4 defense, all because you didn't lock the door.
Sure.
A
lot of people use their basement door too, you know what I'm saying?
And they feel rightly so that, hey, I was the only one in the house.
Right.
My front door was locked.
Right.
And I know, it makes, if you think about it with
Right.
a common sense approach,
Right.
it's just asinine what's going on. But that's not how law works. It's not called common sense.
Right.
It's called law, and there's a difference. So,
unfortunately.
Although our laws,
you'd think they're the same, but they're not.
although our laws are supposed to be reasonable, and you have a little bit of argument there to be able to challenge and say, if this is not reasonable, if this is beyond expectations of reasonable acceptance, you know what I'm saying? That's there is an open door for an argument. And it can be argued the law can always be argued that it's not reasonable. And
It's
the
not
law,
Anakin Skywalker.
right. There's a lot of things. Like you say, it doesn't entail common sense, but it's got to still be reasonable.
You are the man now. You know that, right?
What's that?
You're starting to talk like the man.
Well,
You are the man.
Okay, well, let me ask you
I
this.
still love you, dude.
Here's some laws.
I'm not
I just
even
want
Kool-Aid,
to give this to you, all right, Eric?
I don't
Here's
drink
some,
Kool-Aid.
here's some laws that are on the books in Michigan, and I want to ask you if they make common sense to you, all right?
Sure.
Number one, persons may not be drunk on trains.
they serve alcohol on trains.
Next one is, it is illegal to kill a dog using a decompression chamber. I'm going to go with common sense on that one.
Right.
That is a definite common sense law there. Okay,
sick.
next
Just
one.
a dog, though? It doesn't cover other animals? Just dogs?
Just a dog.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And it doesn't say anything about killing a dog in a different manner.
Right.
I don't know how that's. It may be a different part of
Well,
law.
you got to put a dog down. You got to put a dog down. But
Well, it's
all right,
only a
let's
law
go
that
through
says
that.
you can't kill in a compression
Okay,
chamber.
adultery is illegal, and it is in quite a few states actually, believe it or not. But can only be punished upon a complaint by the affected husband or wife.
All right.
Who else would complain?
I'm gonna report my wife. She slept with the whole football team. Oh, they probably laugh at me.
Well, I mean, I guess that's just it, though. Is that, let's say, for instance,
Somebody's mother.
you don't want to say anything, but Toby's ticked. He can't believe your wife did that to you. Well, it
Right.
doesn't matter unless you stand up and you got a problem with it.
Right.
We ain't got a problem with it. All right. Anyways, next crazy law.
Ass backwards.
The last Sunday in June of every year was named. Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong line here. Cars may not be sold on Sunday. Can you believe that's a law in Michigan?
Shit, really?
I can't believe that.
Oh yeah.
That's why the DMV's closed, man.
You're right. You're right. It is law.
it's just like the ditch thing I told you with Thetford Township. You know, $500 fine, 9 days in jail.
All right, now I like
ditch.
this one here. This was a good one, and my wife will laugh at this. A woman isn't allowed to cut her own hair without her husband's permission. So there you go.
Wow.
Is that a common sense law? You can ask yourself, but it's on the books. It is legal for a robber to file a lawsuit, if he or she got hurt in your house.
Yep. That's why if you shoot him, you got to kill him.
So there's a good one for you.
Isn't it illegal to smoke in your bed in Michigan?
That's right. Thank you.
Didn't you just tell me that the other
That's
day?
right. That is another law. It's illegal to smoke. in
All
bed.
of you smoking in your bed.
All right, and I got another one here. This is
Wow.
funny. This is funny. You may not swear in front of your women and children,
Oh, yeah.
but thank you to freedom, this law was repealed in 2002.
Because of that guy. The guy actually went to jail for 6. Remember on the Asaba River? He went around the corner, fell, started screaming, F this, F that.
All right, and one more crazy law, and I'm sure this is going to spawn some other conversation, although I might regret it. Any person over the age of 12 may have a license for a handgun as long as he or she has not been convicted of a felony. And you realize
a felony.
you can't be convicted of a felony if you're under 17 in Michigan. So there's some crazy laws. Or they all make
So it's
sense?
5
I
years.
don't know. It's up to you.
Right.
I like the haircut law.
So you can get a gun. You can get a CPR.
Works for me.
You don't want to
You
end
know,
up with
isn't
a bald
that how law works? Isn't that how law works? Is which part of my moral fiber or right or my conscious choices do I start to impose on other people and say, you know what, we make this law,
Right.
and you can't do it either. You know, and what point do we start allowing ourselves, you know, the choices that we should be able to have, but also allowing ourselves to live with the responsibility of the choices that we've made. And I think as soon as you start to take away those responsibilities and try to, you know, absolve people of their responsibility and, we're going to take that on for you because you're not capable, and you've taken away what keeps things right.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And I think that that's something to consider there. So, but at any rate, the haircut law works for me, man.
What about it? Now, does that go both ways? The spouse? Is that only for the wife?
It did not say it was vice versa.
It usually goes.
So
You're
cannot-
good. You're good then.
You cannot
You're good.
assume that.
You're good then, right?
Good. John, what's up, buddy? We got a minute left.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Anything else?
I'm just excited for holidays coming up. Snow this week.
That's right.
Get that
Mhm.
snowboarding.
We should
Happy
probably tell our
holidays.
viewers
Happy
Merry
holidays.
Christmas.
Yes, Merry Christmas,
For sure.
Happy Hanukkah. If you did celebrate it, it's over now, but Happy Hanukkah.
Yep. And Kwanzaa.
Kwanzaa.
Any Kwanzaa's out there? Isn't there another holiday too?
Gracemas. We celebrate Gracemas. in the
Feliz
house.
Navidad. Oh no.
Gracemas?
Gracemas, yeah.
Gracemas.
My daughter's
Excellent.
name's Grace.
Oh, excellent. Was she born on Gracemas?
No,
Okay.
but yeah, we just celebrate Gracemas after Christmas.
Well, happy Gracemas.
All right.
Very happy Christmas.
And if
Happy
you think
Gracemas,
about it,
Gracie.
for those of us that do really believe in Christmas, maybe that'd be a more appropriate name for Christmas nowadays, as we've manipulated what we think of Christmas as.
True.
I know Christmas, if the real meaning of it is very appropriate to the word, but I don't know, Gracemas, I like that.
Do you
Yeah,
feel,
might just change the name. Yeah, like the Scud missile, they just change it to Patriot missile, right? So people like it better. Sounds good.
Very,
This is
very
true.
right.
That's funny.
Yeah. Well, cool. I like that a lot. Well, happy Gracemas, viewers.
spend time with your families. Have a good holiday. Great holiday, I should say. Not good. Great. Right.
Yeah.
Excellent,
Holiday.
even.
Excellent.
An excellent
Awesome.
holiday. A bodacious holiday.
Extravagant one. Whatever you want to have.
Tubular.
Stupendous. Yeah, there you go.
Stellar.
Cool. Eric, thanks for joining us this week.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Hey,
Good to have you
always,
back in the studio.
it's always a pleasure coming.
Have your
back.
man come join us every once in a while.
Oh heck yeah, man!
That's right.
I'll pop in periodically.
We have been lifted.
You are the
in your
inside
presence.
connection to the
That's
man.
right.
That's right. That's right. I just being active